We're talking today with Raymond Gautreau of Rockford, Michigan, and the interviewer is James Smither of the Grand Valley State University Veterans History Project. Okay. So start us off with some background on yourself, and to begin with, where and when were you born?
Whitinsville, Massachusetts, January 12th, 1948.
Did you grow up there?
Well, lived in Massachusetts for 3.5, 4 years, then moved to upstate New York, Cornwall on the Hudson for just 1 year. Then moved to Norwich, Connecticut, and lived there from the time I was 5 until the time I was 12. Then we moved to Keene, New Hampshire, where I graduated high school, joined the Marine Corps.
All right. What was your family doing for a living when you were growing up?
My father worked in factories, textile. You know, New England, before everything moved south, it was textile, and he was in textiles. And my mom worked in a mill too, but in the office.
So when did you graduate from high school?
1965,
Okay.
June.
All right. And what motivated the decision to join the Marine Corps?
Well, my family was fairly dysfunctional, and they wanted me. I didn't want to be there. They didn't want me there. And I knew that from the time I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Okay.
So the only thing they said was you graduate in high school and then get out. And so I enlisted actually in April before I graduated. Graduated in June, was in the Marine Corps in July.
Okay. And why did you pick the Marine Corps?
Because it was the baddest outfit.
Okay. At the time you...
Because I don't swim well. I didn't want to go in the Navy.
Okay. Now, at the time you enlisted, were you paying much attention to the news or what was happening in the world?
Well, we watched the Vietnam War on TV. It was just cranking up in 1965. Oh, what's going on? So I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to go to war.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
So at that age, that didn't really bother you?
No. Politics, anything like that? No. I had no idea.
All right.
17 years old when I graduated. 17 when I went into the Marine Corps.
All right. So you had to have your parents' signature for that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So where do they send you now for boot camp?
Parris Island.
Talk about Parris Island. What's that like when you get there?
Hot, muggy. It was in August. Yeah, you know, it was tough, but I was in shape. I've always kind of been in shape. Basketball, baseball, football, so, you know, all the physical stuff wasn't too bad, but the intimidation was eye-opening for me at first, you know.
Okay. Now, how do they actually get you to the base? How do you get from home to Parris Island?
I took it from New Hampshire. I took a bus to Boston. From Boston, I took a plane to, well, I don't know, somewhere in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And then from there, a bus to Parris Island.
Okay. Now, what time of day do you go on the base?
Oh, no. It was at night. I remember it. You know, the bus is at night, and the DIs are screaming at you, sure. You don't know, you can't see anything. You know. That's the first part of the tearing down intimidation.
All right. Now, how long does it take them to process you before you start the regular training? Is it just overnight, then they do everything?
What do you mean regular training? I mean, boot camp is separate from everything. Boot camp is just, we're going to make you muscles, and you're going to listen to, and you're going to do everything we say, and that's what boot camp is. Okay? And then you go to infantry training, the next section. Infantry training, they're going to, you know, teach you about your pack and your underwear and how to fight and platoons and whatever. I don't know. And then you go to your base. So it's like.
All right. Now, how long was the boot camp?
Boot camp, I think, was 6 weeks at that time, or 8 weeks.
Probably 8. Most guys report 8. Yeah. And it was longer earlier when they combined it with the infantry training. But anyway, now what kind of people were going there at that time? Were they all like you, or different places?
Hard to say. The ones I remember were mostly, well, from the East Coast, from New England, Parris Island, that's where they sent East Coast kids.
Right.
Maybe some Southerners, Alabama. Seems to me there was some Alabama people there.
Okay. Were there any black recruits?
Maybe 1 or 2.
Okay. So not many of them.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. And how long did it take you to adjust to the way they did things in boot camp?
Not long, because at home, if I didn't adjust, I got my ass beat.
Okay.
So I knew how to conform real quick.
All right.
You know, you do that to stay alive when you're young.
Okay.
It's just something you learn.
So you had some survival skills coming in
I think so.
that happened to fit.
I think so.
All right, that worked. You were in good physical shape, so you can kind of handle the PT part of things.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you get through that 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then where do you go for your next stage of training?
Camp Geiger for infantry training, and I don't remember how long that was.
Okay. And where is Camp Geiger?
And I couldn't tell you where Camp Geiger. I'm going to say it's in South Carolina. It's either in South Carolina or North Carolina.
Yeah, because they've got...
It might be next to Lejeune. It might be attached to Lejeune in North Carolina.
Yeah, because Camp Lejeune is a big base with a lot of subdivisions and so forth, so they may well have been there. But you weren't staying on Parris Island for that. They moved you
No,
on.
no, no. We moved. Yeah, we left Parris Island.
All right.
I graduated boot camp. Yeah.
Okay. So now you're doing infantry training, or okay. And were the people who were training you, had some of them already been overseas, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, even in Parris Island, some of them had been, I think. I'm thinking one of my, if I remember correctly, one of my pistol 45 instructors.
Because the Marines went in force in March of '67, but you have people, but some went over for limited times, and some were over there earlier.
I'm sure that there were people there in '63, '64,
oh, we had
whatever. So,
we had advisors, and we had people who were on the air bases. So yeah. Anyway, you'll get more later. But now, your training itself, to what extent was the infantry training geared for Vietnam?
The only thing I remember about it really is a 25-mile march in one day. You know, full pack. And we did it. Up at 4 and don't get back till whatever, midnight, or I don't know what time it was, but yeah, we did march. That's about the only thing I remember about ITR.
Okay. Remember what kind of weapons you trained on?
M14.
But did you also get to use a machine gun or a mortar or anything like that?
No. Boot camp. Well, we might have had hand grenade training in ITR.
Mm-hmm.
That might have not been boot camp. But boot camp was M14, 45 caliber pistol, and I don't remember where hand grenade training. If that was, no, I think hand grenades was Parris Island also.
Okay.
Actually.
But then ITR...
But same thing, M14. You know.
But in ITR, they're not adding to the mix.
And I don't remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long did the ITR last?
Maybe 6 weeks again.
Okay. All right. Once you complete that, what do they do with you next?
Then you get assigned to your first unit, which mine was Foxtrot 210, 2nd Marine Division, at Camp Lejeune, which is a 105mm Howitzer Battery.
All right.
That was my first real job. I was a in artillery.
So now you've got your regular duty assignment.
My MOS, Military Occupational Specialty, 0811.
Is that just artillerist?
That's artilleryman.
Okay. Now, were you put on a gun crew right away?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many men would be on a 105 crew at least? There?
No, I think there was supposed to be 8, but there hardly ever was. Maybe 6 or 7.
Okay.
Or maybe there's supposed to be 6 and there was always 5. Or I don't know.
Okay. But you always had the sense that there weren't as many people as there should be. Or at least officially.
Yeah.
Well, on a practical level, how many men does it take to operate a 105 howitzer?
Well, 2. 4. You can do it with 4. Well, actually, you could do it with 1. I did it. I've done it myself. What they called H&I, harassing and fire at night. You're the only person on the gun. You got gun watch. And they say, traverse right. You pick up the whole gun by yourself, by the trails, and you traverse the gun to the right and aim it, do whatever you have to do. Then you fire it yourself. Set the, you make the round up. What charge? At night, it's usually illumination round. And then when they say fire, you fire it. But usually there's at least 5 people there.
All right. Now, were you getting just on-the-job training at this point? Were they showing you how to fire the gun or how to do the different jobs?
Well, first of all, they showed us how to clean it for months. Just we didn't even fire it. No. Then we took a float to Vieques Island, as a matter of fact, which was a firing area that the United States was using. I don't think they use it anymore. And I think that was the first time I actually fired a howitzer.
That's an island near Puerto Rico, and it got used a lot for Navy target practice.
Yeah, and Marine Corps.
But you actually landed on the island
Oh,
and set up your guns and fired them.
Oh yeah, lived in tents. Yeah, it was a field exercise.
Okay. And about how long will you be there when you went there?
10 days.
Okay.
Floated, in some type of troop ship. Floated there, floated back.
And when you landed on the island, did they put you in landing craft or just come up to a dock and get off?
I don't. We might have used nets and landing craft at that time. I don't recall. I know at one time I did use nets.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if it was there. It would have had. Yeah, I think it would have been there.
Yeah, might have been. It was kind of standard practice at that point.
Yeah. So just to get us used to it. Yeah.
So this way. Now, how long did you wind up spending at Camp Geiger?
Camp
Lejeune now. Yeah, Geiger's training.
Till the next June, I guess. And then I had my orders, so I took 30 days leave, July, and then from there from home, flew to San Diego, Camp Pendleton, walked around the sand dunes and the hills up there for a couple of weeks, then got on a ship again and floated to Vietnam.
All right. Now, what was that sea voyage like?
It was only a week, I think, or 10 days. We were supposed to stop in Hawaii, but we didn't. Well, that was the rumor. Oh, yeah, we're going to stop in Hawaii. It'll be fun. Didn't happen. We floated right by. So
what was the weather like on the way over?
Warm, hot. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So no big storm, no big storms or anything like that.
No. Okay. No, big storms come later. Okay. I got a story about big storms. But that's on hospital ship. Yeah. So destination Da Nang, South Vietnam.
Okay. Now, when you arrive at Da Nang, were they using?
This is where we use the nets.
Okay.
Because I remember going in on a mike boat. So this is where, we use nets and we climbed down into mike boats.
So what is a mike boat?
Open personnel craft.
An LCM.
Smaller than, a little smaller than the LCTs or LCMs, whatever, I think.
Yeah, but basically just a landing craft.
Yeah.
It was one with the door that goes down in front.
Yeah.
And did they
That's the way I remember it.
Okay. And do they have you go with full pack and charge out, or were they not doing that anymore?
Okay, here's something I know. Of course, before we get there, the DIs in Parris Island, the instructors in ITR, and everybody at Pendleton is telling us, even the little kids have grenades in their diapers and you can't trust any Vietnamese. So we're going in a light boat, and we didn't have, don't load your weapons. We're going into Da Nang, you find them. And I said, wait, what? They told us everybody's dangerous. They tell us don't load our weapons here. I was scared, pretty much, I guess, right away. And you go and land, and it's like right in the city, in the wharf, and there's moms and kids and everybody else just walking around. And you get on a truck and you go out to your position.
All right.
But I was, wait a minute, what is this? Am I supposed to shoot all these people or what? And they said, no, don't worry about it. So that was my introduction.
Okay. Now, what unit were you joining?
Howitzer Battery, 1st Battalion.
12.
A112, 12
Marines, yeah. 10th Marines are back in the States. Okay. And then which division was that part of?
3rd Marine Regiment.
3rd Marine Regiment. Okay. And where were you initially based?
It was outside of Da Nang, and I keep thinking it was Hill 81 or Hill 881 or something, but I
probably
can
81
never
if it's
find.
close to Da Nang. It's not
Do you know that?
Well, it's a question of altitude. Because it's in meters of altitude above sea level. It's opposed to Da Nang, and you have hills of numbers like 55. Yeah. So.
Oh, 55.
Well, that was
we had to go
to
to a little town we called Dog Patch before we could get to Well, Dog Patch was between Denali and our base,
Right.
where the base was. The base had like 3 fingers to the hill, and there was infantry, R05 howitzers, and 155 millimeter howitzers behind us. There were 3 different fingers of that hill.
All right.
Whichever hill it was.
Okay. And what sort of reception do you get when you show up at the base?
Oh, you're a new guy. You know, we're gonna make fun of him. Yeah. Oh yeah, big deal. Watch out for so and so. He's crazy. Oh, you got to wake him up now. It's his turn to go on guard duty. Oh yeah, now I got to go wake up the guy that sleeps with his rifle. Yeah. So yeah, that stuff goes on until you've been there for a while. You do your job. They know you can do your job, and it's fine.
Now, at the time that you joined them, were they? I guess first of all, chronologically, when was this? When did you arrive in Vietnam?
66. It would have been, I think, August 66.
All right, the summer of '66. And was there much activity at that time? Were you firing very much?
Yeah, we were firing quite a bit. And there was, just before that, an attack on another artillery unit. And I don't remember anything. Oh, you guys just got here, man, but there was a big attack, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we were firing quite a bit. We had some pretty big fire missions. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember, 6 guns, 20 rounds. That's a lot to be thrown out there.
Now, was your battery the only one on that base, or was there a whole battalion there?
Well, there was 155 millimeter guns behind us.
Okay, so the second battery there.
Yeah, and there was tanks and ontos with the infantry.
Okay.
So they had, whatever, some artillery also.
Okay.
And mortars. I'm sure they had mortars, and they might even have 4 deuce. I'm not sure.
That's a pretty substantial base
Oh, yeah,
with a lot of firepower.
Yeah.
All right. Now, with an artillery unit like that, did you ever have to do bunker duty or perimeter guard? Or
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Okay. So what did that involve?
Okay. On Monday night, you had guard duty on the gun. So it starts at 8 o'clock at night. Somebody's on guard 8 till 12, 12 to 4, 4 to 8. On the nights you don't have guard duty on the gun, there's foxhole duty. Same thing, so many guys go in there, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 4, 4 to 8. And if you don't have that, there is listening post, which is outside the wires. And that's only 2 guys. And you're 2 guys with shotguns and grenades and scared shitless, so you really don't sleep. Oh, we got reports there in Vietnam out there. Oh, good, I'm going to go up outside the wire. You're only out there as an alarm anyway. If something happens, you're the first one that's going to shoot somebody and let everybody else know that, yes. All right, so that's listening post. So that's the 3rd. You were doing either one of those things almost every night.
Okay. All right. Now, were the enemy making much effort to probe the base or harass you?
Not really. No. Most of the firing we did was miles away.
Well,
because
yeah.
we could fire 7
Well,
miles.
it would be when you're on perimeter guard and so forth. Was there anybody to shoot at?
No.
Okay.
Not in that unit.
And did the base at that point, would you take occasional mortar rounds or
No, we never
snipers
did.
or things like that?
No.
Okay. So,
Everything was outgoing at that
all
point.
right. Now, how long do you think you stayed on that base?
We stayed there maybe September, October, and into November. November, I think we took trucks and we went north. If I remember correctly, it was by truck. Oh, it could have been by helicopter. I'll bet it was by helicopter. Then we went to Con Thien. Spent time in Con Thien, got wounded in Con Thien, December 10th, 1966. Mortar round after midnight. Blew up outside the hooch I was in and blew me over into the next guy's thing. I got up right away, I knew I was hit. Got my flak jacket and helmet and rifle together and cartridge belt. And made sure everybody else was out of the tent. Because I figured, well, I'm already hit, so I'll just make sure I'm not going to get hit again. And everybody else got out. jumped in the foxhole. He said, "Come on, get in here." I said, "I can't jump in the foxhole." So I laid down in front of it, waited for a corpsman, and sat there. I don't know. They took me into the exec pit. I was in shock. My whole body was just bouncing around on the floor.
Where did you
couldn't
hit?
stop it. In the knee, in the groin, in the hip.
Just a bunch of shrapnel?
Yeah. And, which my body was doing what it was supposed to do, I guess. And then they medevacked me out of there. Went to Chu Lai, to the hospital in Chu Lai. And they got the shrapnel out of my knee and out of my groin, and in my hip they couldn't get it out. And they were trying to hold me down, and this guy's poking around, and I said, "No, you don't have to, don't do that." Not like that. And so they said, "Okay, we can leave that in there." I said, "Okay, leave it in there." And then went to the hospital for a week or so, and just got shot up every day, I guess, with painkillers and antibiotics. I don't know. Then went to hospital ship repos. Was on a hospital ship repos for a while, and this is where heavy rolls. On ships they have this gauge that hangs down, and it's 45 degrees this way for the way, 9 in the morning. And we were on the deck of the hospital ship because some of us finally were ambulatory. And the ship would go like this, and you'd see nothing but the sky. And then the ship would go like this, and you'd see nothing but the ocean way up here. And then they said, "Okay, everybody down below."
Right.
We said, "Yeah, good thinking." And yeah, that little gauge was going from one side to the other.
All right. Now, let's back up a little bit here. Talk a little bit about Con Thien. First of all, where is that in Vietnam?
It's further north. It's north of Hue, Phu Bai.
It's almost to the DMZ.
Almost to the DMZ. Rock pile, Razorback. Matter of fact, I can't remember where, but one night we delivered ammo. I can't remember where we delivered it to now. And that scared the heck out of me because we were just in trucks with no lights, jungle on both sides, and they're going to jump out here or what? That was scary. I'd have shot anything that moved that night. But yeah, Con Thien. I don't remember. We were there. We were firing again. And I don't remember how long you were there, but yeah.
Now,
I got hit.
Did not until you got hit.
Yeah.
Okay. But was there more incoming fire though? Would the enemy shoot rockets or
Mortars
at you?
Well, I don't know after that night.
Yeah, but before that.
No, that was the first time I was ever mortared. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
just lucky.
Once. Yeah. Okay. About how long when you're on the hospital ship then? Did they send you back to your unit after that? Okay. So how long were you away from your unit, do you think?
Long enough to lose 30 pounds. I don't know.
You figure
2 months, maybe. 6 weeks. I don't know, 2 months.
A lot of stuff took a long time.
I know it was at least a week or 10 days in July. And then maybe. Oh, I could tell you. Because it was after New Year's, because we went to Hong Kong for New Year's. So it was after New Year's. So it was at least, I'm going to say at least a month before I was back here.
Okay. We went to Hong Kong. Did the hospital ship go?
Ship.
Okay. And then did you get to go on shore at that point? All right. Yeah. So what was it like to go visit some place where there wasn't a war?
As an 18-year-old idiot, I got the clap and got rolled.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Got drunk, passed out, lost all my money. But luckily somebody put me back on a craft and got me back to the ship.
All right. How long did you stay there? Was it just a couple of days, or
maybe just that one day?
That one day. That was enough. Okay.
It was too much.
Okay. So now you go back to your unit, but when you get back to them, have there been many changes in personnel, or is it pretty much all the same?
No, pretty much all the same.
Okay. So they hadn't taken a lot of other casualties in the meantime?
No.
Okay. Now, when you're on one of these bases, what kind of accommodations or quarters do you have?
At Con Thien, we had a plywood slab, and we had, I think, I want to say a 10-man or 12-man tent on that, sitting on that slab, and we had ammo boxes. Ammo boxes are about this long. Can you see that? This long. And they're about this wide. So you line up a bunch of empty ammo boxes. The rubber lady, which is your air mattress, goes on top of that, and that's your rack. You're always in your uniform. You maybe take your boots and your flak jacket off and your helmet off to sleep, but that's about it. And everything else you don't really take off.
Now, was there any protection? Did you have sandbags or ammo boxes filled with dirt or anything like that?
No, in Da Nang we had all that because we were there for so long. But no, Con Thien, the only thing we had was holes in the ground. Oh, we had, built up walls where the gun pits were. The CBs or somebody comes in with a bulldozer and just makes our gun pit.
But you're not sleeping in a bunker.
Oh no, that was
you had a sandbag. You just got a tent.
It was a tent. That's all it was.
Okay.
Above ground.
All right. Now, was your unit still at Con Thien when you went back, or did they move?
Yeah, I think they were still in Con Thien when we went back. Camp Lejeune. We went to that might have been when we were in Camp Lejeune. I don't remember.
That's another one of those bases up along the DMZ.
It's up there. Yeah, it's up there. And then we also. Oh no, I think this is after that. We went into the. Then I went. We were on the Special Landing Force. Went into the DMZ. And then came back to Camp Carroll. That was later on too.
Okay. So talk then about the landing force then. What was going on there?
That was after Con Thien, Camp Lejeune. We went on, I'm going to say LPH Okinawa, if I remember correctly. And we were going to be on the first landing force to invade the DMZ in 1967. I don't remember what month. Maybe April. I'm not sure.
That someone can look up. So okay. So you were with them.
So yeah, I'm with them. So we're going to have a amphibious landing. They had problems with helicopters, so we went off in Amtraks, amphibious track vehicles, and we've got our 105mm howitzer inside and our ammo inside, and they have sandbags and an M60 up on top and an Amtrak crew, and our 05 crew is up on top. They open up the back of the LPH and we float out, and we're floating in towards the DMZ, and all of a sudden the Amtrak crew starts throwing sandbags off because we're sinking. So we all threw sandbags off. We made it and we got into shore. As soon as we got in, we're starting to unload the guns, and we got the guns off, and we're dragging the guns in the sand. I can't remember now exactly how we did that. But just as we're doing this, F-4 Phantoms come in, and I'm thinking they were going faster than the speed of sound because they were gone, and they were coming in the treetop level, so it was just this super loud jet just there and then gone, and I'm going, whoa, that's going to scare the hell out of the North Vietnamese, and that was pretty interesting, the Phantoms. So then we got set up in the DMZ, and we had trouble, and there was a whole special landing force there. There was infantry, there was artillery, and we got a lot of rounds into our position from North Vietnam. Some say there were 1,200 rounds a day. I don't know. We had people killed. I just looked up the names on the wall, and I'm not doing that again. And, So that was probably the hairiest time, but the first time it's incoming, you know it's incoming. It doesn't take long to figure it out, but I'll tell you. Yeah, so...
Did you have holes?
Oh yeah, we had holes. Well, that was sand, so we had holes dug all over, yeah.
Right.
And one of the first times I jumped in a hole and I'm trying to squeeze down in my boots and my helmet is all you can see, and somebody jumped in next to me and they're doing the same thing, and we're both going and there's rounds landing all around us, and pretty soon those rounds, as soon as the rounds stop coming in, we have to get on the guns and shoot back. So it's an artillery drill. As soon as the rounds stop coming in, I get up to go out and I look, and it's the captain from my unit who's in the hole with me, breathing just as hard as I was. I said, okay, that's good. Yeah, so that was, and then we had, I think it was the Missouri, the last time the Missouri, battleship Missouri was out. And they fired a 16-inch white phosphorus round into our position.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a mistake. Luckily, nobody got hurt. We, you know, by the time that happened, we all knew incoming, and we were all in holes. You know, by the time that round left the tube, we were in holes. So, yeah.
About how long do you think you were in the DMZ?
Oh, I don't know, maybe a month.
Okay.
Maybe 3 weeks. Maybe a month.
For a while. All right. Now, as these things are going on, do you have any knowledge really of what the bigger picture is, or why you're there, or what's happening, or how things are going? Or
no, I just want to get out of there alive, and I just want to do my job.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, when it's time to have a fire mission, I want to be able to do what I'm supposed to do. You know, and that's focusing, I guess. You know?
Yeah. Now, did you have kind of regular jobs on the gun when you were in action?
Well, I started out as a loader because I was, you know, one of the first guys there, or it could have been next I was ammo tech. Then you go to gunner, and then assistant gunner, which actually fires the weapon. So you move up, and you got to know all the jobs. Yeah, when I forget where we were, maybe it was Con Thien again. And I had to be section chief for a while because we had nobody that was corporal or above. So.
And is the section chief just in charge of your gun, or is he in charge of
just one?
But he's above the level of the gunners.
Well, he just happens to be the guy that has the headphones on.
Right.
He's connected to the. I mean, there were other guys that were, you know, E3s.
All right. So. Now, did you get a set of information from fire direction control or something like that that says set the gun this way and you just do what they tell you?
Yeah. The gun's oriented. They know how it's oriented with their maps, so they can tell us angle of the barrel and deflection. Traverse left and right.
Yeah. And then how much, and then could you adjust the size of the charge, the range? Yeah. Okay. All right. And then, so after the DMZ, you pull out, where do you go next?
Either after the DMZ we went to Con Thien or we went to Camp J.J. Carroll. I'm not really sure. Okay. I think it was, but I know Camp J.J. Carroll. That was the last place that I remember being in Vietnam.
Okay. And was life any different at Camp Carroll than it was at Con Thien or Camp Lejeune, or are they pretty much all the same?
First place I ever smoked marijuana, Camp J.J. Carroll, South Vietnam, 1967.
Okay.
Been smoking ever since.
Was it any more or less safe than the other places?
It was not Camp J.J. Carroll. It was a big base.
Okay. And so there you had proper bunkers and things like that? Or at least more cover?
I don't remember.
Okay.
We probably had the same thing, ammo boxes and rubber ladies.
Yeah.
That was pretty much In Da Nang, we might have had cots. In Da Nang, I think we had cots, but after that, I don't remember being a cot.
Right. Okay. Now, the places where you were, did you ever see many of the South Vietnamese population? See civilians around?
Yeah. Well, Da Nang.
Da Nang you had. Okay.
And occasionally you were chosen for a trip to go to Da Nang, I forget why, pick up supplies, something, and you'd go through Dog Patch, a little town before Da Nang, and then you'd go into Da Nang again. So yeah, we'd see, and there was a little village, again, on the Da Nang, where I was stationed on that hill. There was a little village next to the hill, and they'd come in and get our garbage, and so there was the barber, and little kids. I'm sure I had pictures somewhere of me and some little kids.
What impression did you have of them, just generally?
Generally, the older people just struggled to live, and they smacked the kids around until the kids learned it.
Now, did you find yourself not being scared by them after a while? Because you said when you first landed, you were afraid they all had hand grenades.
Yeah, no, I mean, but again, once I was there and in country and everything, there was always rounds of my weapon. There was, more ammo than, When you first get there, you're supposed to have 4 ammo pouches or something, but by the time you leave, everybody's got 19 ammo pouches hanging all over them, so you're never going to run out of ammo. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
no, after a while, I didn't feel a threat, I guess.
Okay. Now, as an artillerist, would you still be carrying a lot of ammo around?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because guerrilla type war, you never knew who, and it was most of the time, we were so close to an infantry unit anyway that, if they're going to attack, they'd probably attack us before they attack, or get the infantry through us or something. I don't know their tactics.
But anyway, you were close enough to...
Only one time, though, was I actually shot at, that I know I was shot at. And I shot back. Other than that, when we were in DMZ, I didn't... I couldn't see their artillery units, and I'm sure they couldn't see us, but we kept firing back.
Oh, yeah. And so the incident when you actually did have to fire, can you talk about that, or what happened?
We had gone, I forget why. We had taken 2 guns, and we had gone into the field in choppers with these 2 guns, and I don't... some type of operation, and we were fine. All we had was ourselves and the choppers. And when we got there, everything was fine. We fired some rounds. Fine, everything's cool. Okay, now let's bug out. We got to get out of here. So and that's when we started taking rounds, and everybody's laying on the ground, hiding. You can see the smoke or whatever, and so you shoot back, but you can't see anybody. And then finally it stopped, and we just got out of there. No one got hit, and we don't know if we hit anybody, but yeah.
Now, did they give you M16s by this time?
No,
you still have an M14? All right. Now, you had mentioned before that you had stops in Okinawa and the Philippines. Where do those fit in your... Do those come later?
No, those are before... Well, the Philippines... No, both of them were before the SLF. Yeah.
Okay.
Special Landing Force.
All right. So, talk a little bit about those.
They would have been before Con Thien, too.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. Yeah. We'll be back after a short word from our sponsor.
Okay, so we were, because it was fairly common for a while for Marines to do some kind of jungle training before they went into Vietnam, and do that either in the Philippines or Okinawa.
Well,
but do you think you got that after you were in Vietnam for a while? They pulled you out.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, what happens or what do you do when you're there?
Well, Okinawa, again, I might have only been 17 or just turned 18 in Okinawa. So, again, and my dad was an alcoholic. I started drinking when I was like 8 or 9 or 10, okay? So, Okinawa was just drink and at night, every night. I forget what we did during the day. Inspections, try and hide and sleep. The Philippines, the only thing I remember about that is hiking in the jungles and firing. I don't remember where we stayed. If we stayed on the ship, I bet you we stayed on the ship during the Philippines.
Okay. All right. So, and then you had your 13 months tour of Vietnam. Did you get an R&R?
No, I was supposed to go on R&R when I got shot.
So the hospital ship was your R&R?
That was my R&R.
All right. Now, as you started to get short, did that change the way you thought about things or what you did, or did you just do the same thing till you left?
Well, if I remember correctly, we were in Camp Carroll at that time. And so there probably wasn't much to do.
Okay.
And if I was short, I'd probably let everybody know that I was short. But I really don't remember much about it. I mean, it was a huge base, I remember that.
Okay. Now, when the time comes for you to leave, what's the process now to get you out of Vietnam?
Back to Da Nang. Probably chopper. Or maybe C-130 to Da Nang. Then from Da Nang to Okinawa. From Okinawa, fly back to, I'm going to say San Diego, but it could have been LA, I'm not sure. I went from there home for 30 days and then back to Quantico, Virginia. I spent my last year schools demonstration troops in Quantico, Virginia. We showed officers training what the 05 was about.
Okay. Just explain a little bit what you were doing there
In Quantico?
Yeah.
Well, we fired 05s. They had a range. It was nothing far. I mean, you know, half a mile to 1 mile, maybe. You could see the truck out there that we were on, the shell that we were aiming at, or the tank, or whatever it happened to be. So most of the firing was direct fire. But there'd be bleachers in back and officers sitting in the bleachers taking notes on this assignments. Okay. And we just go out and fire.
All right.
And actually, Quantico was mostly veterans, people who knew what they were doing on a gun and could get it done, really well.
So they had a lot of guys like yourself who had already been out there in the field. They're finishing out enlistments.
Yep.
Now, did you have a fair number? Were there career guys there, or were they all pretty much, at least the people you associated with, mostly like you?
No, there was some career guys. One of my best friends who actually wasn't in the same unit as me, but from boot camp on, you told buddy, you gotta have a buddy. And when I got to ITR, this guy, we wake up every morning, hey buddy, first thing. Well, then we got separated. I went to the 05 Battery in Lejeune, and he went somewhere else. I had no idea where he went. And I went to Vietnam. Oh no, he was in the same unit as me at Lejeune, so it was the same thing. Wake up every morning, hey buddy. I made weekends to his home in New Jersey, Then I went to Vietnam. And he wanted to go. He was signing lists, but he didn't go. He didn't get assigned. And I did. And I was over there until, say this, in the DMZ. And I'm in the DMZ one day and I'm cleaning the gun and all of a sudden I hear, hey buddy. And I just know immediately. And he's just happy to be there. Oh yeah, look at all this, we're getting incoming, man. Is this great? I go, no. Yeah, that was, and he stayed in the Marine Corps. After Vietnam, he was a drill instructor, then he was a recruiting officer for a while, and finally retired. He's still in North Carolina.
Now, for you, so you had what was basically a day job at that point now? Just go out there on the range and...
Oh, yeah. And plus everybody else, a lot of people are getting out of the Marine Corps.
Right.
So yeah, we pulled KP, we mowed the lawns, we did all of that. Because you guys are gone. See you later, okay.
All right. So how many months did you spend there?
Just about a year.
Yeah, about what you had left in those 3 years. Yeah.
It would have been September to the next, or August, or September to the next July.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when you had off time, would you go into Washington or other places? Or?
Yeah. I did skating on the reflecting pool in the winter, and went to the museums, and on weekends we do that stuff. But also, was it the first year? 67 was the big peace march in Washington.
There was one then, yeah. And then more in 68.
Holy cow! Look at the way these people are all dressed, and let me take pictures of this. And I went to, I was smoking pot. There were other Marines that were smoking pot. So in Washington, D.C., I went to a Jefferson Airplane concert. Holy cow, what is going on here? And everybody's just tripping and stoned and drinking, and I thought, oh wow, this is something I missed, I guess.
Yeah. Now, could they spot you as military just because of your haircut?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. Now, to what extent, now that you're back in the States, to what extent or how quickly do you become aware of the whole anti-war movement?
Not really while I'm still in.
Okay.
Not really until I get out. And when I got married, first time. Might have been out of the Marine Corps, 68. I don't remember now, 69. No, 68. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was married in 68 the first time. I just became a hippie, and that marriage didn't last, and who knows?
But basically, while you were in, even though you were based in the States, it wasn't making that much of an impression on you that there was an anti-war movement going.
I was just more let me get high and we have fun.
Okay. All right. So, did the Marine Corps make any effort to encourage you to stay in?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember that.
All right.
Just okay, you got 3 weeks left, you staying or not? No, I'm going. Okay, go get your physicals, get out of here.
Okay.
If you stay, you're going back to Vietnam. Not anymore.
Right. Okay. So now you get out, 1968. Do you go find a job right away, or do other things?
I had a fairly good job as an electrician's assistant for a couple of years, and we were traveling, and we get travel pay, and so I did pretty good. But then I quit that and went to school for electricity, doing something I forget. But then I just dropped out, and I was too stoned all the time. That's what I wanted to do, and lived in a commune for years, couple of years, that whole thing.
How did you wind up in Michigan?
I had gone to Florida and met a woman in Florida who said, "Oh, come on to Michigan. My folks have a cottage on Lake Michigan. We can spend the summer there and just smoke pot and have fun." Yeah. Well, as soon as we got there, Mother said, "Oh, what? You're gonna what?" "Well, you're marrying my daughter." So, but never got along with the mother. a girl who never left her mother, so I ended up in divorce too.
But you wind up finding work here, or?
Oh yeah, so I just stayed. I like Michigan. First of all, Korea can't touch us. We don't get many hurricanes.
Yeah.
We're not getting many
Not a lot of earthquakes.
earthquakes.
Yeah.
So Michigan, yeah, it's not a bad place. Worst thing we got to worry about is Asian carp. That's fine.
Yeah. Global warming can melt the snow, so yeah, we're good.
I just.
All right. Now, if you look back now on the time that you spent in the Marine Corps, what do you think you took out of that, positive or negative?
I think I did a good job of what I was supposed to do, and I'm, proud of my service.
Okay.
On the whole, it was a good experience, I guess. I hope that my grandkids never have to go, but I'm just, I'm lucky I made it back. I'm still alive,
Have you had any kinds of other issues, PTSD kinds of things that you know of?
Sure, I have therapy. I take therapy. I'm 100% disabled, unemployable, wounds, service-connected, everything. So I do get coverage from the VA, and I appreciate that. And they've gotten a lot better.
Good.
There's still room for improvement.
All right. So, listen, I appreciate your coming in and sharing the story today. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.